Even the most seasoned archaeologists can usually identify an artifact the moment they spot it. But sometimes, even their sharpest instincts fall short. That's when they call on scientists to help crack the case. But what happens when no one has the answer? Well, what you're left with is an unsolved mystery, one that continues to puzzle even the brightest minds. These are the kinds of discoveries that push the fences of what we think we know. And as you'll see in this video, they're some of the most thrilling finds in archaeology. Let's kick off this countdown with Number 15. Sanju Sandu statues. In Kyoto, inside a 400-foot-long wooden hall built in 1266, stand 1,001 golden statues of the deity Kannon. The place is called Sanju Sandu, translated as Hall of 33 Bays, but that doesn't explain much. Each statue is hand-carved from cypress wood, coated in gold leaf, and uniquely detailed. Not a single face is the same. But here's where it gets stranger. We have no idea why they were made like this. There are no names, legends, or real answers. The building was once known as Reinyo Inn, and it served as a Buddhist worship site under the Tendai sect. Even now, access is restricted, and photography is banned. Some of the only available photos likely broke temple rules. Scholars can't explain why exactly 1001 were crafted, or who the facial models might have been. It clearly mattered to the monks who built it, but what it meant to them remains locked in silence. One of Japan's most sacred sites, and its full story still slips through our hands. Number 14. The Sahelanthropus skull. Just look at that creepy thing. In 2001, researchers in central Chad unearthed a fossil that forced scientists to rethink everything they believed about human origins. The skull, nicknamed Tumai, belonged to a species called Sahelanthropus chadensis and was dated at roughly 7 million years old. That's over 1 million years older than any other known hominin fossil. The skull features a small brain case, comparable in size to that of a chimpanzee, but the teeth and facial structure align more closely with early humans. Its age alone is disruptive enough, but its location makes things even more complicated. Chad lies far from the Great Rift Valley, which most experts had considered the birthplace of humanity. This finding pushed the boundaries of that theory to the breaking point. If hominins were walking upright this long ago, and that far from East Africa, then our entire map of early human migration may be flawed. Even today, the debate around Tumai's place in the evolutionary tree is fierce. One thing is certain, this skull cracked more than just ancient soil. It cracked open a whole new line of questions. Number 13. The Allora Caves. These caves in Maharashtra are more than just temples. They're architectural poetry carved into stone. Construction started in the 6th century and didn't wrap up for another 400 years. What came out of that labor? A jaw-dropping cluster of 34 rock-cut temples, stretching both above and below ground, shaped by Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain craftsmen working side by side. The standout is the Kailasa Temple, recognized as the world's largest monolithic structure, carved top-down from a single stone. And we're talking precise carvings, chambers, columns, and intricate figures, all without modern tools. If anyone tried to build something like this today, it would cost billions. Some original artwork, painted in lime plaster, still clings to the walls. But here's the catch. We still don't know who commissioned it. No inscription, no blueprint, just endless questions. What inspired such unity between faiths? Who imagined this underground wonderland? Allora stands as proof of human brilliance, but leaves behind a mystery that no one's been able to solve. Number 12. The swan-shaped pot of San Maxia. While digging in San Maxia, Henan Province, construction crews stumbled across an ancient grave, prompting archaeologists to intervene. Inside the tomb was a peculiar object, a bronze vessel shaped like a swan, unlike anything typically found in that region. The pot wasn't empty. It held nearly 3 liters of a mysterious yellowish-brown liquid with visible impurities, and so far researchers haven't been able to identify what the fluid actually is. Alongside it, a bronze helmet, A jade ceremonial blade and an iron sword were also recovered, suggesting this burial belonged to someone of military importance, possibly a high-ranking warrior. The vessel is unique, both in design and contents. It's the only bronze item of its kind ever uncovered in this area. The liquid, although chemically analyzed, still eludes definitive classification. Some suspect ancient wine, others speculate it could be linked to legends about a Chinese elixir of immortality. Either way, both the pot and its contents have left experts puzzled and opened a small window into burial rituals that clearly went beyond the ordinary. Number 11. The Kakitulk Mummies of Greenland. Back in 1972, two brothers out hunting grouse near Nuuk, Greenland, stumbled upon something that stopped them cold. 8 frozen human bodies buried under stones in the long-abandoned Inuit settlement of Kakitulk. What they found weren't typical remains. These were naturally preserved mummies, frozen in time by the Arctic climate. Among the 8 were 6 adult women and 2 children, believed to have died around 1475. The preservation was so intense that their facial tattoos were still visible, markings that likely held cultural meaning now lost. The harsh truth: one of the children may have been buried alive, possibly due to illness or ritual. No one knows exactly why the group died or how they came to be buried together, but the site became one of the most significant archaeological finds in Greenland. Without deliberate mummification, nature took over, sealing a moment of ancient life in ice and silence, offering us a rare and haunting glimpse into a culture that left behind little more than bodies and unsolved questions. Number 10. The Shri Yantra Geoglyph, Oregon. Back in 1990, a massive geoglyph showed up in a dry lakebed near Steens Mountain, Oregon. This thing didn't just appear, it shocked everyone. It's the Shri Yantra, a complex Hindu symbol etched into the ground, with a level of accuracy that feels more machine than man. We're talking lines 10 inches wide and 3 inches deep, stretched across over a quarter mile. The first to report it, Lieutenant Bill Miller from the Idaho Air National Guard. And here's where it gets weird. This site had been flown over for years. How did nobody see it before? There are no previous records, no photos. Just boom, it's suddenly there. Some say it's a recent prank, but creating something that massive overnight seems nearly impossible. On the flip side, if it's ancient, how did early humans achieve such geometric perfection without modern tools? To this day, no one knows who created it, why they made it, or how they pulled it off with such eerie precision. Number 9. Figurines of the Burnt City. In southeastern Iran lies Shri, or the Burnt City, one of the oldest and most perplexing archaeological sites in the country. Only a small portion has been excavated, but what's been found there continues to raise eyebrows. In 2021, researchers uncovered a series of figurines from the site, most resembling animals, especially cattle, but some shaped as human figures. What's curious is the consistent posture. All male figures are depicted standing, while the female figures are always seated. This positioning might suggest a gender hierarchy, but it could just as easily imply the opposite, that women held authority and men were subordinate. The Burnt City was abandoned around 4,400 years ago, and so far very little has been uncovered to explain why. No written language remains, and its sudden disappearance is still a mystery. These figurines, crafted with care and deliberate symbolism, might hold the key to a culture's vanished story. For now, they sit in silence, waiting for the rest of their world to be brought back into the light. Number 8. The Puerto Rican Figurines. A set of 800 intricately carved stone figures unearthed across Puerto Rico has been causing a stir among archaeologists since they were properly studied in 2019, despite being found much earlier. These artifacts, thought to date back to the 14th or 15th century, don't match anything else known from the region. Under microscopic examination, Traces of red pigment and gold suggest they were once painted and revered. Some believe the etchings on their surfaces might even represent a form of writing, one that predates and differs entirely from anything the Maya or Aztecs ever used. It's a controversial claim, and experts remain divided. What's even stranger is the origin story. Legend credits a monk named Jose Maria Nazario with finding the figurines, but no records of this man exist. Despite years of research, no culture in known history can be definitively linked to the carvings. For now, they remain unclaimed, pieces of a civilization that may have existed in silence and disappeared before the world ever knew its name. Number 7. The Well of Santa Cristina. In the heart of Sardinia lies the Well of Santa Cristina, a subterranean structure unlike anything else in Italy. It's attributed to the Nuragic civilization, which built it more than 3,000 years ago, but their story remains elusive. The name Santa Cristina comes from a nearby medieval church. The original name of the well is long lost. What stands today is a precisely engineered staircase, descending to an underground chamber, perfectly cut from stone blocks that interlock without mortar. The geometry is so clean, some say it resembles modern architecture more than Bronze Age construction. Around the well are remains of other stone structures, possibly homes or gathering spaces, but no definitive purpose has ever been pinned down. Some suggest the site had religious or astronomical importance, perhaps even a place where rituals were performed during equinoxes. Others see it as a practical water source with ceremonial overtones. With no written record left behind by the Nuragic people, the well remains an architectural masterpiece surrounded by silence, shadow, and unanswered intent. Number 6. The Enigma of the Sea Peoples. Over 3,000 years ago, ancient Egypt and its neighbors were rocked by devastating raids from a force historians still haven't fully identified. The Sea Peoples. That's not a nickname, that's all we've got. No one knows who they were or where they came from. Egyptian records from Tanis describe them arriving in powerful ships, overwhelming defenses with brutal force, and then disappearing just as mysteriously. These weren't one-off attacks, they came back for centuries, and yet they left behind no cities, no language, no trail to follow, just chaos in their wake. Some theories link them to the Trojans or displaced groups from the Aegean. A few scholars think they came from Sicily or Turkey, based on vague Egyptian hints about a northern origin. But with no solid evidence, those are just educated guesses. We're left staring at the ruins they left behind, trying to connect dots that may never line up. The Sea Peoples remain one of ancient history's biggest blind spots. What do you think about them? Are they real? Number 5. The Ostrich Egg Globe. Somewhere in the early 1500s, someone crafted a globe unlike any other by carefully etching the known world onto an ostrich eggshell. Its creator, unknown. But what's carved into its curved surface is stunning. Continents, oceans, and sea monsters fill the shell, echoing the beliefs and fears of sailors from that age. This globe is among the earliest known maps of the New World, showing the Americas just decades after their European encounter. But it's not just its age or content that turns heads, it's the whispers. Some say it may have come from the workshop of Leonardo da Vinci himself, though no solid proof exists. Regardless of its maker, the craft is unmatched. Two halves of an ostrich shell, merged into a perfect sphere covered in minute details. It feels more like a puzzle than a map. The globe raises questions, how was it made and by whom, but provides no answers. Just like the age it came from, it leaves more curiosity behind than clarity. Number 4. The Mystery of Egyptian Coffin Texts. Among the many rituals the ancient Egyptians performed for the dead, coffin texts remain one of the most revealing and least understood. These inscriptions, painted inside sarcophagi during the Middle Kingdom, weren't decorative, they were deeply spiritual. They often included spells and commands asking gods to guide the deceased safely into the afterlife. Before this era, such inscriptions were reserved for royalty. But as these texts began appearing on coffins of non-royal individuals, it signaled a significant shift in Egyptian belief, suggesting that the afterlife was no longer an exclusive club. Over 1,000 spells have been documented so far, many of which contain early versions of what would later be known as the Book of the Dead. It's here that we first see Osiris as the divine judge, weighing the heart of the deceased to decide their fate. These coffin texts weren't just poetry, they were protection. They reflected how common people began claiming their own spiritual destiny, marking a profound transformation in Egyptian religious thought, centuries before those ideas would echo through other faiths. Number 3. The Swiss ring watch in a Ming tomb. In 2008, during the excavation of an undisturbed Ming Dynasty tomb in Shanxi, China, a small metallic object turned up that made no historical sense. It was a ring watch, modern in design, clearly stamped with the word Switzerland, and showing a frozen time of 10:06. The tomb had been sealed for over 400 years, untouched since the 17th century. Yet this watch, which shouldn't have existed until at least the 19th century, was somehow inside. Theories flooded in. Some claimed the tomb was broken into and resealed. Others suggested a rodent may have dragged it inside. Neither explanation holds up well, especially considering how rare ring watches are, and how unlikely it would be for a tomb raider or a mouse to carry such an object. There's no credible sign of disturbance, and the soil around the tomb hadn't been shifted. It's one of those finds that archaeologists hate because it defies everything. There's no timeline, no source, and no satisfying explanation. It's just there, out of place, out of time, and out of logic. Number 2. Pyramid of Helena. This pyramid is a monument that challenges assumptions about who built the world's first pyramids. Though it shares the classic triangular form, its structure is much smaller than Egypt's iconic wonders, and was built from limestone blocks using a technique thought to belong to the Hellenistic era. Still, there's more to this monument than meets the eye. Thermoluminescence dating suggests that it might be over 6,000 years old, older than the pyramids at Giza. That claim alone has stirred endless academic disputes. Some archaeologists say the test results aren't trustworthy, while others argue that the pyramid predates most written history in the region. It's also unclear what the structure was for. It wasn't a tomb. It wasn't a temple. It may have served a military or ceremonial role, but no proof confirms either theory. Greek geographer Pausanias wrote about it in the 2nd century, meaning it was already ancient by then, and yet the who, why, and when of its origin remain buried under layers of stone and speculation. Number 9. Willing Koulen standing stones. Hidden in the hills of Manipur's Willing Koulen region lies an ancient stone arrangement that could rival Stonehenge, yet barely anyone outside India knows it exists. Locals say it's always been there, each stone carrying its own name and forgotten meaning passed down through generations. The rocks aren't native to the area, which means they were hauled in from miles away with no clue how. No roads, no wheels, no records, just massive slabs sitting on a remote slope. Some experts think it was an observatory, but there's zero proof backing that up. Carbon dating, no luck. The stones are too weathered to give anything away, and despite years of studies, no one has figured out when, how, or why they were placed. Theories float, but answers don't. All we're left with is a mysterious monument older than memory itself, and a community that treats it as something sacred, even though its story has slipped through time's fingers. Well, we really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.